Well, it's day 3 and we've heard nothing yet from the River and Canal Rescue people or their partner company. I've done a bit of research myself, looked at some diagrams, downloaded some stuff. I'm a very competent motorcycle mechanic, worked on for 40 odd years. I've never worked on cars, vans or diesels, but hey. So today I'm going to pull it apart as much as I can, investigate, find out something. So, I've been told what they think it is. If it is, fine, but I'll just have a check, see what I can find out. One day cruising, and now I'm going to try and start pulling parts of the engine apart to see if I can work out how to sort out this governor problem. I've been told, I've been doing lots of work online, and if I take off this big air intake casing here, I'll show you a bit closer in a minute, apparently I can get into the one end of the spring mechanism. If I need to get to the other end of the spring, it's rocker cover off, cam belt, cam drive, the lot off. So yeah, take this cover off first, see what happens. Just show you the cover. It's this one here, and there's the mechanism that's going to do lally. The governor's in here somewhere, the governor spring. Let's see what happens. So I have the top off the engine. There's the induction box, and the regulator mechanism is here. And they told me it was probably a spring that had gone. Well, there's 2 springs. This red one here, which is on this arm, I can't move it. And this one here, which was still connected up quite happily, there. So that spring's connected, but these 2 bits didn't seem to be in position. So this is a photo I took when I first stripped it, and as you can clearly see, the pin's not located in the groove as it should be. So is this piece bent back causing the problem? Does that need bending in? It looks to me like that could be the simple problem. Both springs are intact. Cool. So, rather than going down the River Lee navigation towards London, here I am in Daventry. I've ridden up here on my motorbike to get a new diesel rail, the one that is bent on mine, and the new one certainly isn't bent. I couldn't get one locally, so I come up to Daventry. I went out to Great Dunmow in Essex this morning to fetch the gaskets I needed, and now I've had to come to Daventry to get this part, and now I'm going to head home and try and get our boat fixed. It's been a fun day or two, hasn't it? Oh well, it's a beautiful day and I love riding motorbikes, so what the heck. For those interested in what I'm riding, this is my Triumph Tiger 800 touring bike. I've got a few bikes, this is the boring one, but if you want to cover distance comfortably and quick, this is the one for you. Right, let's get back home. Okay, here's my explanation. As you know, the thing was revving itself stupid. These are the diesel injectors, and the thing that controls how much fuel goes in is this bar goes that way, that way, that way, and the spring there pulls it back. Bit of vibration would help too. So that goes there, and the spring over there pulls it back. Now, is that default setting full throttle in that position, or is that full throttle? Not sure. Well, I wasn't. So if those 2 weren't connected and that pin is pulled by the governor, this rod was in its default position that way, pulled by the red spring. The red is a colour coding for the kind of regulator, by the way, for the kind of engine revs. Which means if they weren't connected, that rod was in that position, which is either the injector's full open or fully shut. Now, as we know from when I started it up, it was fully open. Which means this little pin here, which is a fork, there's a sort of a big long fork thing like this that pulls it backwards and forwards and connects to the governor, which is in here. There's a bob weight spin round, it pulls this little fork and bends that. So the governor's got 2 possible ways of moving that pin. It can either move it that way, which is impossible because that's as far as it can go, so that can't be its default position, or that way, which would pull it like that, i.e. shutting it off. And I found it in that position, fully open, not connected to anything. So as soon as you start it up, it revs its nuts off. So this morning I have a new bar. I could have just bent this back, but I didn't think that was a good idea. I also wanted to buy a new one, see if it was perfectly straight. Not only that, I've got the new gaskets for here, so I've got to assemble it all up. I'll do this side first, get that spring back on, and then I'll do the top bit there. So there's a manifold of my new gasket, and I've cleaned up all of this area here. That's all cleaned. I've cleaned out the threads. I ran a tap down, a couple of the new were stiff, checked all the bolts, redid the threads on those, and so I'm ready to start assembling. If you're wondering what on earth a big towel's doing on top of the engine, I can tell you from long experience, the first time you drop a nut or a washer or a bolt down into the engine sump or into the down the plug hole, you learn to always cover up all the holes. Right, I'll put the manifold on. So first to connect the governor spring to a little arm, gasket's in position, now bolt up. So I've put the new rod on, there's the old one, but I've got a problem, one I hadn't thought of. The rod pulls 4 different injectors with that hole, that hole, that hole, that hole, and it moves the injectors across in sync, and they have to be set up spot on. And to do that, you need monitoring equipment for each injector that measures the fuel flow and adjust it really, really finely. And I haven't got that. So I need to call out a Lombardini engineer if I can find one, or plan B, this rod is the original, which I showed you, there it is, was bent, bend it back, put it back on. So I'm waiting for a couple of phone calls and I'm thinking. Well folks, you can probably hear that noise. I've got a big smile on my face, and I can now add diesel mechanic to my motorbike mechanic skills. It's working, listen. And there it is in all its glory. Charging, running. Lovely. Well, it's the evening of day, God knows what day, 6 is it? 5, 6?
6.
And we're finally out cruising in, as you can see. Bit of a hectic day, transporting stuff back from our house to the boat, getting ourselves sorted out. Then I was going to get a taxi from my house to the train station to get us back to the boat, and they had a 2-hour waiting list, we had to walk. It's been quite a slog today, but we're back here. We're back on the water, all's going well.
Weather is beautiful.
Boat's running well, fingers crossed, and it's just so nice to be carrying on, isn't it?
Lovely, and we're on new uncharted territory.
We're off down, we're in Cheshunt, aren't we? We're in Fast Fisher's Green.
Actually, we've cycled along the footpath quite a few times, and we mean we've not been on the canal or the river.
If you ever do come up this way on the Lee, I'd recommend mooring near Cheshunt Lock, because on your left, this side, is just stunning. There's a massive big park called Fisher's Green, big bird place, isn't it? Filled walks. Quarries, walks, cycles, you can go for miles. But anyway, we're travelling again and we're very happy.
Good morning!
Morning folks, nice early start today. It's that really hot day predicted, and we wanted to get up early, get going. Very early for you, 8 o'clock.
I know.
We're heading north up the Lee, not south. We had a couple of issues with the boat after we got going. And one is the sort of a clutch gearbox mechanism, which was just, it seems fine, but I think it had a bit of a hit when we revved it to 4,000 RPM when the governor went and rammed it into gear. Didn't mean to. And we've had a couple of electrical problems that happened at the same time.
Like frying my iPad.
Yeah. So what we're doing is we're pottering back up the Lee for a bit and getting the boat sorted out. And it's doing well so far, isn't it?
Very nice.
So we're all sorted really. Getting just checking it out, checking everything's okay before we turn around and go back to London. Well folks, if you've enjoyed our videos, mostly engine assembly, I do appreciate, not everybody's cup of tea, but if you have enjoyed our video today, you know what to do. What do we do, Linda?
Press like.
And subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks a lot folks, see you next week, hopefully with just cruising. Bye!
Bye.